It is Women's History Month with Women Empowerment Wednesday, and we are honoring all the women who have made history, starting with the women that brought us here. I'd like to thank my mother, Charlotte Rozier, and all of my aunts and my grandmothers and my great-grandmothers and my great-great-grandmothers who thought it not robbery to pour into me. I am here and I'm giving you this message, and I'm bringing these phenomenal speakers that you're going to hear from today, all because they thought it was important to pour into me. So I hope that today that you enjoy our show. We got a packed show. We have Michelle Tatum, we have Linda Howard, and we have Jeanette. And Jeanette is, you are really going to enjoy the message that she is giving you today. The other thing that I want to talk about is that every day is an opportunity for you to make history as a woman. So what I challenge you today is, after you watch this, go and research one woman in your industry, or maybe two, that has done some phenomenal things and made some powerful gains. I know for me, I can say Madam C.J. Walker was one of my inspirations in business. Her tenacity, her forwardness, her ability to reach back and go and to grab other women, her tenacity to be able to reach forward. If you haven't seen her biopic, I encourage you to look at it. But the sacrifices that she had to make as a mother, and then becoming a single mom, and thinking about her legacy, what's your why? And she understood her why over 100 years ago. So that's one of my major inspirations in business. And I want you to take some time to look at, in your whatever sector you're in, whatever discipline of business that you're in, make sure that you look and research a woman that has done some things that have paved the way for you to be here today. And then I want you to take those tools, and I want you to think about how you can make history and move forward. We're excited. We have a packed show today, and I'm excited to bring you all the guest speakers. You're going to love it, and it's going to be phenomenal. All right, we'll be back. Our first break is sponsored by Duke Energy, which is one of our title sponsors. Thank you, Tanja Graham and the team at Duke Energy, for continuing to support us and love on us and promote us as we go into our second year of Women Empowerment Wednesday. So we'll be right back.
At Duke Energy, it is their privilege, policy, and practice to proactively seek and build relationships with diverse suppliers. Through supply diversity, they build relationships with diverse businesses capable of providing commodities and services at competitive prices. Those relationships also help to strengthen economic and improve business opportunities for everyone. This is done by their three-point approach: educate customers and employees, assist customers, and improve performance. Thank you to Duke Energy for supporting Women Empowerment Wednesday.
All right, so we're back again. Thank you to Duke Energy for being the title sponsor again this year. I'm so excited because I have someone special with me, and I'm allow her to go in and kind of talk about who she is. But first, I'm going to say she's my line sister. So we are members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Speaking of women's business month and just women and doing things, amazing things in the world, and Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is doing that through its members across the United States, over 300,000. But I'm not going to toot our own horn, but I will say that I'm so excited because Linda is here, and ever since I met her in our process, she has always been a beacon of just education and a calm spirit, and a person that has always poured into me, and she doesn't know how much she's poured into me. So we purposely waited until this month to invite her to participate because of the levels that I have of respect for her and all of the panelists that are speaking today. So I want to say thank you for participating today.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm honored to be here.
Good. So we have some questions that we're going to ask you because the people want to know. Okay. So the first question is, tell us who you are and what services does your company provide?
Well, my name is Linda Howard. I am currently the Chief Financial Officer at Florida Municipal Power Agency. And at that agency, we provide all or most of the electricity for our 31 member cities throughout the state of Florida. Our goal is to provide reliable, cost-effective, and clean energy as much as we can to our constituents so that they can then provide that to their members. I have a long history in the financial world. My major is in accounting way back when. I have a master's in business administration as well, but I have had audit experience, accounting experience, and now I'm in the finance world. But in my job as CFO, I oversee the accounting functions, the budget functions, the financial analysts, and our internal audit function. So we provide all the financial services for our agency.
And I'm so proud of you for being CFO. For those that don't know, is Chief Financial Officer. That means she's the top of the line when it comes to making financial decisions and leading the organization. And I do believe that, that is definitely an accolade for you in that role,
Absolutely.
particularly being a woman of color.
Absolutely.
And so I want to thank you for me reaching those heights.
Thank God.
Won't he do it?
There. Yes,
Won't he do it
Yes,
in a
he
village?
will.
So
Yes.
let's talk about that village. You have an amazing husband and some beautiful daughters and a sweet grandbaby. So the question is, how have you found balance in being a wife, a mother, being very dedicated to her community, and also being an executive for a large corporation? How have you found, and let's be very clear, ladies, there's no such thing as balance, okay? There is trying to make sure that everything is still moving forward at the same time. Right. But how have you been able to make sure things in your life move forward at the same time?
Yeah, and that is hard, and she's right. And balance is it is a hard word, and it's really not true. But I find priorities is how I make it. I have to set priorities, and my priorities have stayed pretty much the same from a young age. God is first, so I try to make sure what I do aligns with His Word and with the Holy Spirit. Yes. My family is second, and my friends are next. In 2020, my family took up most of my time. I had a life-changing experience with my husband being very ill. Mm-hmm. I also lost my father in 2020. I have a sister who's ill that I'm the guardian for. So my family took up a lot of my time. I didn't get a chance to spend a lot of time with friends, but I definitely spent a lot of time with God. Yes. So that first priority was my biggest priority, because that's where all my health and strength came from in 2020. But I was appreciative of my friends who were praying for me and praying with me. But priorities to me is the key to making things work. And when Kim speaks of balance, I do try to stay balanced, because I try to do some things on a consistent basis, but not always is it in balance. For instance, during that time, most of my time went to my husband's care. Right. So some of the other things got put on the back burner because that was the priority. And that's how life is. Sometimes your priorities do change. They change with time, and they change with situations. I try to still make sure I maintain daily contact with my daughters, although they're grown. We talk every day. We talk every day, try to do FaceTime now that they've shown me all this new technology. So we do FaceTime every day. My granddaughter does videos for me to show me how well she's reading, and that is amazing, to see that.
And so smart.
She is. She is smart. I was saying something to her the other day. Wow, you're so big. And she said, is that a compliment? Oh. And I said, first of all, how does she know what compliment is?
And she's
5. I'm like, wait. But she was right, because some people use the word big in a negative. So I said, you're so big. And she was just about, thank you. Wait, Mama. Wait. Is that a compliment?
Wait, before I receive that.
Yeah. She said, is that a compliment? I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing that she actually had the wherewithal to determine, wait, before I say thank you. Yes. Are you complimenting me? Right. But I do have a precious family.
Maybe an attorney in her future.
I do thank God for my family. They are precious to me. They are high priority. I spend a lot of time, of course, with my mom. My mom is 87, and she is so fit for 87 years. Of course, missing my dad. They were married just about 68 years before my father passed away.
What a blessing.
So that's a long time.
But that's a blessing.
It is such a blessing. So we, of course, sad to see my dad go, but at 89 years old, he lived a good, long life, raised 7 children, instilled a lot of values in us that are still with us today. So we're grateful for the legacy that my dad and my mom have left in us. So.
Yeah, and I think that's important when you talk about legacy, because those are some of the things that you've instilled in your daughters and now being instilled in your granddaughter.
Absolutely.
And I think that those things that we learned from our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents who've carried us all these years, right?
Absolutely.
And so the next question kind of leads into that is, what obstacles have you faced when you're climbing the corporate ladder? And I want to hear about 1 or 2 obstacles, but I want to hear how you were able to overcome those and how you were able to stay centered in knowing who you are and whose you are.
Yeah. Being an African-American woman who has high goals in itself is an obstacle, because a lot of times it puts people on the defensive.
Yes.
So one of the things I've tried to do, because I am sometimes a little rigid, and I know sometimes that put people off, but without some of that structure, you can't get things done. So I try to make sure people know that I care. So I try to show them that I care, try to reach out with kindness, but I still have the goal in mind. Right. But they do know that I care about them. And that, to me, has helped with some of the sternness, I guess, that I have. Care and kindness kind of balances that sternness, because you still got to have discipline to get things done.
Work got to get done.
Work has to get done, so you can't put that apart. But if people have things going on in their lives, I try to make sure they know, hey, that's the most important thing right now.
Right.
Like you have a sick relative, that's the most important thing. If you take care of that, we'll take care of the shop while you're doing that.
Yeah.
I also try to make sure that people at work know that my family is a priority. So if I have to check out, oops, must have been something important.
Right.
She left, so she's not going to leave us hanging for no reason.
Yeah.
So I try to do that also. But I think just showing people that they're important, that I care about them, but you still have to get the work done. So that's been the biggest thing. The other big obstacle, and this is my own obstacle, is disappointments. Because I set big goals, when I don't reach them, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Disappointment can help, but sometimes it can hurt. And for me, disappointment, it really sits on me a little bit, and it can cause me to lose my energy. So I have to refocus and reset goals. And I guess my biggest disappointment was not getting my CFO position at OUC. I was at OUC for 25 years, and I really thought that was going to be my role. That was my next goal. And I'm just kind of lining up. I've done, and I just couldn't figure out what else could I have done. So I was very disappointed. It took me a while for God to kind of speak to me about not getting something you want.
Right.
Because I'm like, God, you've been really faithful. What's going on
and
here?
I've been working. They said faith
hard.
without works is dead. I'm working.
So that threw me off, and I kind of got an inkling at my 20 years at OUC that I wasn't going to get that, and I just wasn't happy with it at all. So it took me a little while to kind of, and I shouldn't say bounce back, 'cause it took me a long time to really bounce back from the disappointment. But once I retired from OUC, took my early retirement, took another job in Brooksville. I said, hey, I'm just going to bless the people that are over here. I wouldn't have known them otherwise. So God has sent me out to meet some people I would have never met. I could have stayed at OUC, I would have never known these people. They had gone a long time without a supervisor. And for me to come in and show them that I cared, they were like, wow, she actually cares about us.
Your talents were needed other places.
And that's what God was telling me. Hey, these are people that you wouldn't have known otherwise had I not sent you out. You would have just still been nice. And one of the things God has taught me this year is comfort is the enemy of growth. If you stay in a comfortable position, you will not grow. And so God is teaching me, when I moved out from, having been there 25 years, all of my kids' life, that was a big move. But comfort is definitely the enemy of growth, because if you stay where you're comfortable, you won't progress. And I was like, wow, thank you, God, for 2021. That's my saying for this year. And he's just teaching me certain things. I'm working on pride, because sometimes when you set big goals, you can kind of get like you can do it all.
Right.
And definitely not getting that CFO. He says, I'm really in charge.
Right.
I'm really the one who got you all these promotions, progressions, and moved you up. So if I decide no, I'm the one in charge. So you got to trust me.
Trust me in all things.
And if I can trust him, he can do what he needs to do.
Yeah,
I don't know what would have happened at CFO at OUC. They're in a turbulent time right now, but I'm a CFO at a company that's doing great, and it's fit for me.
Won't he do it?
So I'm just gonna.
When I stop and think things
just
over,
gotta think.
I won't complain.
Exactly. I've got to trust that he knows what's best for me, and also he's put me in a place where I can give him glory.
Yeah,
I've got to think about, you say all things work together for good.
For those that love the Lord.
Hey, we love him, but it's for his good.
That's right.
You got to make sure we're giving him glory for it. So I just had to trust him, and that was an area that I wasn't trusting him, because I thought I had done everything he told me. I got my degree, I got my CPA, I got my master's degree. I've been supervising. I did good evaluation.
Right.
And for me, I like an answer.
Yes.
And I didn't get an answer. The answer was, God, why didn't I get this position? He didn't really give me a good answer. I wanted a good, solid, because you did, I wanted an answer.
And then you could have worked on it or
Exactly.
said, okay, I see why, but it was in the physical that you needed an answer, but God doesn't work in the physical.
Absolutely. He was in the spirit, and I thought my boss didn't give me a good, solid answer.
Yeah.
My CEO couldn't give me a good, solid answer, and so I struggle with that, because I'm an accountant by nature.
Right.
I count stuff.
What is the add the one and the two, carry
Exactly.
over the
What
three?
could I have done differently?
Yeah.
And I couldn't really get a good, solid answer, and I guess they really didn't have a good, solid. I wasn't the match.
Right.
Now, I could have protested and contested and laid out all of my, and I could have gotten the position probably. But why would I want to be in a position where I didn't have the support of the two key people I needed?
Yeah.
I would have been a disaster.
And every fight not your fight.
It's not.
I played a song the other day by Yolanda Adams called "The Battle Is Not Yours, It's the Lord's."
Absolutely.
And once we get to a place in life where we realize that the battle is just not my battle, like it just has to sit in your soul that it's not my battle.
Absolutely.
But when I think about one thing you said was that God knew what was up the road.
Absolutely.
He knew that your husband was going to get sick. If you were CFO of this organization in a turbulent time, and then you had to decide between this role that they
Absolutely.
trusted you with, even though
Absolutely.
they didn't entrust you, they trusted you with, right? Because the difference between trust and interest,
Absolutely.
right? That they just would have given you this role because, well, we don't want to stink or we don't want to whatever.
Exactly.
You would have had to choose
Absolutely.
between both. Where in an unstable time.
Absolutely.
God is so good.
He's good. He's faithful.
He's so faithful.
And
He's
he
so
knows
faithful.
everything. That's the key thing. He
Yeah,
knows
he
everything.
knows everything.
Okay. So you said something. He's really helped me with humility because I'm thinking who I am. He says, it's not about you. It's who
not about
I
you.
am.
No.
And what I can do through
Right.
you, wherever I put you.
Yeah.
You can use me wherever you put
Wherever.
me.
Take me and use me wherever you want to use me.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm so glad you're here, because it's women that needed to hear that. It's a woman that's somewhere that has been applying, and this ceiling just won't break. I just can't. And in Women's Month, I need to understand, Lord, why. And sometimes you will never understand.
Absolutely.
Take your talents. Young lady, take your talents and go somewhere else where they're wanted, needed, and appreciated.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go into the next question. You have been recognized for your fortitude and forwardness. We talked about the secrets already to your success, and one it instilled in you from a child from some amazing parents, and having some siblings that were there to cultivate you. And now you're from the other coast, right?
I'm Plant City.
Plant City. Okay. All right.
Near
And-
Tampa.
Almost the other coast. And also, I want to go into one thing, because we talked some about your successes and how you've been doing. But I want to talk about some of your daily routines and frequent practices to keep you mentally balanced. And we know that, you have a Lord and Savior. But what are some daily tangible things that you do?
Daily, every morning, I try to get up and spend a little bit of time in the Word and meditation. That helps me kind of get centered and settled. Sometimes I don't get up as early as I want to spend as much time, but I try to spend some time in the Word every day, either through daily devotional or just a word God has given me. And this month, I'm working on pride. He says that's something I need you to work on, so I'm doing studies on pride, and I'm really trying that, Lord, break that pride in me. I don't want to be prideful, because I know pride cometh before destruction.
That's right.
So help me. I want to make sure I'm humble and that I'm listening and I'm open to you. And there's been a lot of things happen this month that I really needed that word. So he was giving me something that I was going to need, as he always does. But that's one of the things I try to do. In the morning time, if I'm not too rushed, I'll also try to listen to some songs of praise and inspiration. If I don't get it before I leave the house in my car, I just turn on the CD in my car and I'll listen to it on my way to work, because that helps me kind of get myself centered.
Starting your day off. Right?
Starting my day off right.
Starting your day off with an
helps.
attitude of gratitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, is very important. So
Yeah.
even if I'm running late, I'll try to do that for a few minutes, even if it's not as long as I like. And what I also try to do is exercise at least some every day. I try to walk about 5 days a week.
Because you're an athlete, right?
Yeah, right. I do try to walk / jog or do some strength training every day. So I'm trying to work on that. I was a runner.
Yeah.
Really up until last year, March, when my husband got sick, my heart was just not, I just felt my heart was beating too fast for me to try to run, so I started walking because I needed to do something. And I started kind of marching, and I was like, I'm marching around the walls of Jericho because I couldn't see my husband.
Right.
So I said, I'm just going to march around the house. But that's why I actually started walking.
Look at there.
Marching around the walls, like this wall is going to come down,
It is,
like the
and it
walls
did,
of Jericho.
and it did.
So I actually started walking last year instead of running. Now I've added a little jog, but I mainly walk now because I get a chance to enjoy nature a little bit more. I'm not huffing and puffing as much.
Right.
Get to enjoy nature a little bit more, and it's cold, but I will at least wave at people. How you doing? And when I'm running, I didn't usually have time for that. So I am walking and jogging a little bit. My youngest daughter told me, you need to do some strength training because you're running and you know your knees and stuff are going to get brittle. So 2 days a week I try to do some strength training, and that kind of helps keep me. But that helps me. The one thing I need to work on a little bit more is eating more healthy. So I'm working on that.
But you have a great shape. I think we're all our worst critics, because if I could have your leanness, I think my bones are the same size as your whole entire body. Like if you just take all the fat and the meat off this body and you boil down to the bones, that's just how lean and how in shape you are. So I think we're all our worst critics.
Well, that's true, but I eat a little bit too much sugar, and that's the only real critic I have of myself. I like vegetables. Can eat almost anything, but I do eat a little too much sugar, and I see a big difference when I stop eating sugar.
Okay.
So that's one thing I am trying to pull back on. I know it has really no positive health benefits other than it tastes good.
And it gets you
Doesn't do
going.
anything for the body.
It gets you going.
It gets you going, but it also lets you down.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to back off sugar a little bit more.
So I hear you talking about making sure that you're balanced and whole, and you're kind of a holistic perspective thinking, and you translate that into a book. So let's talk about this book that you have, a noted author, a woman.
Yeah.
You are every woman, like my song that I love to play for y'all. Let's talk about this book.
That's actually one of my keys, God's Favor. That's
Yeah.
the book I wrote. And this book was really just a way for me to try to give God some praise for all the favor He had shown in my life. And I got the title of the book years ago. I was sitting at a church Christmas at TD Jakes in Texas. My husband was working out there, and we went out there for Christmas. And he just dropped the title in my spirit. Nothing else, just the title. My life wrapped in God's favor. Before me, behind me, all around me, I've just experienced His favor. And this book was a chance for me to summarize some of those things that stood out to me. And I look back like, wow, that was God's favor. Nothing else. God's favor plus nothing got me here. And I just really just way for me to give back. And also to show other people, you probably have God's favor in your life. You might have missed it.
Yeah.
Look at this. That was God's favor. Look at something like that. You might have had something similar. And there were some small things in here I was thinking about in God's favor. I was struggling when I had 2 little kids with washing clothes. I felt like I was washing clothes all the time. Like,
Talk about it. Listen,
what
you
the
can stop. Listen, you can have a ministry just in laundry.
and you could.
For a woman, an entrepreneur, a mother who's in a corporate position who has kids. I was talking to someone, I won't say their name because they'll be upset. They're in the building. We've been talking. This has been a steady. It's one of your line sisters. It's number 6 on your line. But we had been talking for a while about laundry and how we will either wash and dry, but that folding
and
putting
up.
away.
It's
It's not working, and so
hard.
in our mind we think, well, it's clean clothes in the house.
Go get them.
I feel good about myself because all the clothes in the house are clean. Check box. You're a good mom. Keep it moving.
But it was tough, and I just felt like this thing makes no sense. So I got a group of ladies from my church. We had a little care group, and I said, "Hey, ladies, I know I'm your leader, but I'm struggling with this. I'm having trouble with the clothes." And one of the ladies, she's really real down to earth. She said, "Just buy more underwear." And I was like, I said, "I'm struggling with it." And I thought about the king. Said, "Just go wash in Jordan." I was expecting something.
Right.
And I was like, "Okay." She said, "Well, when you wash clothes, it's because you're out of underwear, right?" And I'm like, okay, she's right. So I went and bought a pair of underwear, in a backpack of underwear, probably 8 or 10. And I went, wow, I can't believe it was that easy. Because it gave me some days.
Won't he do it?
I was like,
won't he do
I thought
it?
that's God's favor. One is God's favor that I was humble enough to ask. I'm struggling.
That's
And
right.
Okay, I'm Miss It. I'm independent.
Right.
I was really struggling, and I thought it didn't make sense. Somebody must have an answer.
Come on now.
And she gave me that answer. And she's such a down-to-earth person. She just said, buy more underwear.
And it was done.
And
you've
I
been
went and
struggling
bought
with
the
that.
underwear, and I was like, why couldn't I have asked her this a couple years ago? What? I've been struggling. But it was just amazing, the favor. And one of the time, I'd like to take my kids, and I wanted to be active in this, and I was running. And one of the bishops, he asked me, he said, "So what does Ken do, with the kids?" And I thought, well, nothing. And he said, "Why?"
Why?
And I said, "Because I want to be superwoman and do it
Do
all."
everything. I thought I was supposed to do
So-
everything.
And so I said, "Hey, Ken, can you pick up the girl?" He said, "Yeah." And I was like, "No, but really shouldn't shoot myself. I've been doing all this ripping and running.
Right.
And Ken has just been right. I thought, busted myself to get off work, bust myself to do. And Ken said, "Oh, yeah, I can pick him up anytime." I wanted to shoot him and myself.
And yourself.
But I thought how it's simple. Someone else saw that I was struggling because he said, "So what is Ken doing?"
Right.
He said,
What is your husband doing?
I said,
Your
"Actually,
partner?
nothing."
Your mate?
I'm like, nothing.
Because
And-
I ain't asked. Because I opened my mouth.
And Ken said, "Well, I thought she wanted to do it.
We
She-
have not
she
because
was-
we asked
She
not."
was all so excited about taking them, so Ken was like,
Let her have it.
I'm going on home."
So when you evaluated your plate, you realized there were some things that you could take off your plate, and you
Absolutely.
still could.
And it was so easy
and-
to take off.
2 things. Listen, buy some extra underwear for your children, okay? Because
Number
more than
one.
likely they have a whole bunch of clothes. It is the underwear that make you wash,
Yeah, it
okay?
is.
Y'all learned something today right there too. And if you have a village that can help you,
Let
allow
them
them to help you. That doesn't make you less of a woman. It does
Absolutely.
not make you less
It
of a
does
woman.
not.
I had someone take my kids to school this morning, and I felt good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I trusted that she could come to the house and pick them up so that I can come here and be here early so I can empower other women. But that task of getting my kids ready and getting them to school, I entrusted someone else to do it.
And it's okay.
And it's listen, it's well with my soul.
It's okay to get help. I was struggling with just being superwoman, I guess, that I had to do it all. And I do like to be involved with my kids.
Right.
I'm a more of a, my husband, he could just take them to school and go home. He'd be happy. I
Right.
want him to do extra stuff, and he wants them to do it, but he was
Yeah.
okay if they didn't.
Right.
But it's okay not
But it's
to do
only
it
one
all.
you.
It's only one me, and
Right.
I want to keep the one me. So
Right.
there's some things you have to do to keep yourself.
Right.
And I'm just asking for help was,
How can I get the book?
oh, wow. You can get the book. You can get the book from Amazon. Just look up the title, get the book, Amazon. You can email me at faye7983@gmail.com. That's my personal email. I do have a I can't think of my own website, but probably best to do the faye7983@gmail.com. I can ship you a book, autograph it and ship it to you.
Oh.
If you get it from Amazon, of course, Amazon will ship it directly to you.
Okay.
And you can also get the electronic version on Amazon, a Kindle version at Amazon as well.
So I want to purchase 5 books and for our listeners,
Okay.
and we'll ship it to them, and we'll give you their names.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Oh, you know what? You don't know how you touch me and the number 6 on our line, life. We're going to go buy some more underwear so that we can enjoy our lives and not be burdened down by the laundry that looks at us when we walk into our laundry rooms. So thank you so much, Linda Howard, for
Thank you
just
so much.
being here today and for blessing me and blessing the women that have been watching. We are going into our next sponsor break with The Perfect Touch Weddings, multiple weddings, and events, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
The Perfect Touch Weddings and Events is proud to present the Perfect Pop-Up Wedding Collection. Do you dream about an easygoing small wedding? A step above a standard elopement or courthouse wedding, pop-up weddings are budget-friendly, generally spontaneous, and less stressful to plan. Our team will organize all things ceremony. Your pop-up wedding will include a licensed officiant to oversee your ceremony, including when to exchange rings and vows. A florist will provide your personal flowers, including your bridal bouquet, and timeless, beautiful decor to define your altar. A saxophonist will entertain your guests upon arrival to get friends and family in a soulful mood. A beautiful serenade while you walk down the aisle and after your sealed kiss. A photographer will capture still images of your most treasured moments, while the videographer will prepare an emotional highlight film that will tell your love story of your wedding day from start to finish. Your pictures and video will be the closest thing you have to reliving your wedding day. You will toast to forever with champagne and have a sweet, sweet ending with a wedding cake. More importantly, you will have a licensed and insured wedding coordinator from The Perfect Touch Weddings and Events to oversee vendor logistics and the entire experience. Do you happen to need a venue? We can assist with that too. Our all-inclusive pop-up wedding collection allows you to float 11 stories above the city streets in downtown at the Balcony, Orlando. This venue offers your guests a view of Lake Eola and surrounding skylines. You simply will be responsible for what you wear and who you want to be there. Contact us today to schedule a consultation and learn more about our pop-up wedding collection.
All right, we are back. Linda was awesome, and I have another woman that's following us. Thank you for The Perfect Touch Wedding Events. I'm here with Jeanette, and listen, I'm big on saying someone's name and knowing their name and saying their name correctly, okay? Because that's important of who you are in your branding. So we're gonna practice this name. I've been practicing for a little bit. I'm gonna try and get it right. So she's gonna say it slowly, and then I'm going to say it because it's important. Whenever you have a business as a business owner, it's important that you take the time to learn someone's name, learn something about them so that you can have a tangible conversation, especially if you're asking them for something. So you thought it not robbery to come here and spend time out of your day. So I want to make sure that I acknowledge that and respect it. So Let's practice.
We're ready.
Okay.
We're ready. Okay, so
Rolling my R's.
ready? Roll your R's. Okay.
Got it.
Oh, that was perfect.
I can roll
That
it.
was perfect.
I got it. Okay.
That's perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Jeanette
Jeanette
Herrero.
Herrero.
That was perfect. That was so good. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That was brilliant.
Okay, thank
you.
Okay, so let's go into the questions.
Oh,
all right?
let's do it.
All right, so tell us about who you are and a little bit about your company, your amazing company.
Oh, thank you for that.
No.
That's so humbling. A little bit about who I am. I am a Chief Servant Officer. So really that's the CEO of the organization. And my purpose is to serve others, right? To coach, to train leaders, and to raise them up to the next level. A little bit about our company. So what we do is build trust. That's really what we do. And we happen to deliver that through our janitorial services,
like
our
that.
facility services.
I like that.
Yeah, but that's really at the core of what we do. We display our core values through the building of trust. So it's
love
the
that.
in exchange, right? You want a service provider. We're not just across the state now, but we're multi
Yes.
state level.
Yes.
So God is so good.
Wanna
I'm just
do
gonna
it?
say that. I'm just gonna say that. Like
All
pause
the
in
time.
that moment.
All
Yes,
the time. Yeah,
yes.
for those that love
Yes.
the Lord.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. He
Yeah.
creates that vision and then he equips the unequipped. And that's part of the story of King Service Solutions. So we build leaders, we build trust.
So let's talk about, when you talk about the vision, what made you decide to start this business?
I wanted to change the conversation. I remember feeling concerned about the opportunities and being able to create those opportunities in a diverse platform for others.
Yes.
And this is International Women's Month,
It is,
right?
it
So
is,
it's
it
so
is.
perfect. It's such
It
a full
is,
circle
it
for
is.
me to really see to fruition some of that vision in others, in our team members from all kinds of different walks of life and nationalities.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was about changing that conversation and saying, you know, when you come to this country, you come with this dream. I remember 7 years old. This is like way back.
Okay.
But 7 years old, 7 years old. So
The
getting
number of
off,
completion.
Yes, getting off the airplane and my mother holding my hand and saying, you can do anything. You can do anything. You need discipline and integrity and faith. And so it really guided me to believing in the impossible. And so as I studied the scriptures and really hung on to those promises, no weapon formed against you will
Just
triumph.
prosper. Come on.
Right? No
Come
weapon
on.
means no weapon, not just half a weapon, but
Right.
no weapon.
Come on.
You know, everything belongs to him.
That's right.
He is in the details. He is the God of a strategic plan.
Yes.
I remember thinking, how can I create that opportunity for others? And, you know, I started this organization with just 4 individuals and a dream and
Yeah.
saying, Lord, if you would just equip me, I can fulfill your calling over my life, right? I am here, I am available. And so that was part of it. Years later, I bought out my competitor, and then years later, I married him.
That's what I'm talking about.
Total acquisition.
Total.
That was not in a book anywhere. So
Man,
it might
that
not
is
work for
amazing.
everyone.
Yeah, but it
that
worked
was
for you.
yes, that was part of God's plan. So you know, I quickly realized our work ethic was in alignment, right?
Yeah.
Our core values,
Yeah.
our passion to raise up leaders and coach
Yeah.
and develop, and so
I love that.
Yes.
But 2 or more gathered.
yes.
Come on.
Yes.
So the 2 of you
Yes.
were gathered,
Yes.
and then you brought God into the
Yes.
midst. And so
Yes.
look at it, touching and
Yes.
agreeing.
There was a complete alignment. There was always, you know, God's purpose. And so when we were ready to receive, right? So you have to be in that season
Yes.
of preparation,
Right.
meeting opportunity.
That's right.
It doesn't come overnight. But when you're in that season, you know, you are ready to receive that blessing.
Yeah.
And don't go at it prematurely. That's a mistake.
No.
Be ready for it.
Because everything
Yeah.
in his own season, its own time.
That's it.
For his glory.
That's it. Your journey is important to wrap your arms around it. It's important to say, I embrace this moment where I'm at,
yeah.
and I am
sometimes
here
that's
for a
hard.
purpose.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
hard when you're in the middle of a storm, right? You can wrap your mind around or your arms around things when things are going good.
Yeah.
But women who are going through storms, it's hard to wrap your mind or your arms around the fact that God has me in his place.
Yeah.
like you love me, God. I've tried to be good. I'm working hard. I'm building this business. I've got these kids. I've got this life. I'm a good person. I'm a good servant.
Yes.
But why am I in this storm?
Yeah.
Why am I going through this storm?
So I want to challenge you about that because, for a long time, I would find myself in this place where I, as an entrepreneur, as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, right? You're always giving to someone else, right? And you have this challenge with, what do I look at? When I'm in the midst of the storm, and sometimes we're in the midst of the storm and nobody knows it. Nobody knows it. So we are so good at displaying, right, this level of success to someone else's expectation. Right. So we need to be comfortable in that space of, we're in the storm for a reason. Let me dwell in his spirit first of all, and then something that just the last couple of months, as I reflect on 2020 and some of those chapters.
Tell you about it.
That's an understatement. That's an understatement right there. Like, it passes really fast, that statement, but it wasn't like that. Yeah. So something that I learned from looking at what happened to 2020, what's the philosophy, what are the lessons to be learned in that era, is really, remember where Noah built the ark and there was a storm and God cleaned the earth? But then he sent the dove. Yeah. But the dove came back with something. Right. And it was a fresh olive branch. Yes. So here's the lesson in that. There is something fresh brewing in that storm. Wow. There is something fresh brewing in that storm. That we don't even know. Yeah. So God uses all for the greater good. Wow. Right?
That's some deep stuff. That's some deep stuff.
I'm just
because
reflecting,
we focused on the being obedient.
Yes.
Right? Even though, get ready, get the animals, get your family, build the ark. Yeah. Focus on what I'm telling you.
Organize. You're in the storm. You're organizing.
Be focused on the storm.
That's right. Strategy. We're talking. Executive meetings. When you relate that to your business journey, you're thinking, okay, have I set the goals? Have I reviewed the performance? Have I done the evaluation? Have I given the team the tools? But in the midst of all that doing, there is something brewing that's fresh and new.
Something to doing is brewing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
And that is a birthing place, I think, for a lot of entrepreneurs, and I think especially for women, right?
Yes.
We have to be so prepared to give emotionally, to give our talents, to share our wisdom, right?
Right.
But in the midst of all of that, stay still. Stay still and know that the person who is controlling the storm also is brewing something new within you. Wow. So,
you just said something profound, and as you were talking, it hit me about the birthing process, right? And so as women, anyone that's had a baby, you find out you're pregnant, and then you get some kind of morning sickness, right? And that's how it starts out. You're going to be sick. And so it changes your life. This new thing that's coming down the pipeline, it changes your life from the beginning. And then you go through this 10-month period where you have something growing in you, something manifesting in you, and you are changing your life and you're getting ready for it. And when you get in the third trimester, you're not sleeping at night, right? You are miserable. Your life has changed, or you're feeling glowing. It's whatever it is, right? But you're getting ready. When a woman has a baby, there's the most silent but yet peaceful moment between you and your spouse and the doctors, that you're getting ready to focus on birthing something that's going to live on.
yes.
And then when you have the baby, it's like those months before you had the baby, you were up in the middle of the night tossing and turning because you need to be up in the middle of the night after you have the baby to feed the baby.
Yes.
So you were getting ready during the birthing, during the pregnancy, for the manifestation of whatever you're birthing, so that you can be ready on the other side.
Yes.
For the expectation.
Yes.
You said something, but that's good. That's deep. That's deep.
And so many of us sometimes, I think, in our journey, kind of self-doubt, right? Or we create, that mindset of, I wonder if I can do it. I wonder if I can start my own business. I wonder if I have what it takes. I wonder if I'm good enough. Right. I wonder if the failure will mean the ultimate, right? Like, how would I handle disappointment?
What are people going to say? Do I have enough resources? What will people say about
There's
me?
a million questions, right? And so if it isn't coming from the outside, it's also being generated from the inside, right?
Yes.
But here's the key. If you would just hang on into that corner.
That's right.
Right? Your blessing is just around that
Right
corner.
around the corner.
It is just in that curve
around the
piece,
corner.
right? And so if you just hang on and encourage someone else who's in that process, right?
Women Empowerment Wednesday.
Yes. Encourage someone else in that process, right? Because we're all different journeys of to live out, and it's our own testimony as well.
That's right.
Right? So I feel like as we grow our character, right? There's another woman that is needing for you to become that pillar. That is, you're not really doing it just for yourself. You're
holding
really
the door
doing
open
for those generations.
You're holding the door open.
Right? And you're breaking strongholds as you go.
Yeah.
Right? So
And
I feel like
curses and all of that.
So I feel like this preparedness, right? And all of us that is happening at this time is for that next generation, right? We are going to equip our leaders, we're going to develop them, and then they're going to receive the promised land.
That's right.
So that's what I mean. It's about doing that groundwork, right? Even in your organization, we and I'll share with this about you where people thought I was radically crazy. They were just like, this isn't, why would you do that? You have to be
you have
radical.
that crazy faith.
Yes.
Because a mustard seed is like this big, right?
So tiny.
Right. So
tiny.
you have to have crazy faith
Yeah.
in yourself and in something someone else can't see.
That's it. In the invisible.
Yeah.
In the invisible, to become that reality for you. So I started in the organization realizing very early on that in order for me to change the conversation, that I really had to provide the differentiator for our business, right? So what was going to be different about another cleaning company?
Right.
What was different?
In Central Florida, right.
In Central Florida, right? So how does that change that conversation? So we started with those core values, the DNA of our organization, right? Like radical integrity. That means even when no one's looking, no one knows, you're there, you're really going to do what you're supposed to do and then go the extra mile.
Yes.
You're going to go the extra mile. You're always testing, how can I serve better? How can I help someone else? Right? And so it's always about that mindset. And then be transparent.
Yeah.
Be transparent. There's a lot of learning curve, right, in every industry. But be transparent about the place that you're at and say, I might need some help in this area.
Yeah.
So, we talk about innovation in large corporations. Like, you have to be part of the innovation team. What does that mean? Like, how do I get there? Like, I remember thinking, I don't know if I can put that in even anywhere in my mission statement. Like, how do I quantify that?
Innovation
Yes. And that's really sharing your wisdom, right? Your learning curves with someone else. Okay, and then being transparent about that. But we started early on realizing, hey, this has to be different. So something we do in our organization is we have a particular room called the war room.
Yep, love the war room.
The war room. And we pray in that room. Now, imagine putting that as part of your daily agenda and saying, I can go to 1 million meetings and I've got so much to do. But I'm going to take this time to praise.
Yeah, we pray over meetings in my organization. Before I start any team
That's
meeting,
it.
we pray.
That's it.
But I'm not only praying for the business, I'm praying for my team, I'm praying for their families, I'm praying for God's purpose in all of our lives and why He have us working together. I take Him wherever I go.
Yes.
Because I want Him to go wherever I'm going. And I want to go wherever He want me to go.
Yes. Can we just get to the part where He walks in front of us, right? We're like, Lord, if you could just go before me.
Yes.
So before I enter the room, can you prepare the atmosphere?
Yes.
Can you set a place for me at the table? Right?
In rooms I'm not even in.
No.
How about you just go in the room?
Yes.
I'm going to sit outside the door. I'm going to work on my hair, my makeup. I'm going to build up my confidence. I'm going to work on my clip notes.
Yes.
God, if you could just go into the room.
Yes. The nerves that we get when we have to give a big presentation, right? We're up against giants, in our journey, right? So it's like David, right? He picked up what he had. He said, I'm going to just pick up these rocks and I'm going to use them for your glory. And I have the faith to defeat that giant.
That's right.
That giant could be a financial crisis.
Yes.
It could be your
COVID-19.
turnover. Yes.
It could be COVID-19.
I can't.
That is moved to COVID-21.
I know. And it just keeps going. It just keeps going. But we were like, we're going to just check this off in 3 months.
Yeah.
No. Because there's some
now.
lessons here to learn as we continue into that storm. But all the processes that we go through, right, is to really get us to that place of work and worship.
Yeah. That's it.
Work and worship.
That's it.
Right? What you do sets that tone in your organization. And how do you behave? And I think for believers and Christian organizations, like our company is called Kings. Let me tell you why. I knew early on that ambition could get in the way. If I wasn't aware of what success needed to look like
Right.
for myself, I needed to identify, Lord, how do you want me to qualify what
Yeah.
success looks like,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And most people, when they meet us now, they're like, oh, it's a success overnight. They didn't see all that
No,
groundwork.
they don't know the work you did at OCPS with the painting and how you were. I know your
Do
story.
you remember?
I know your story. I know your story. So when I
Yes.
see you, I'm like, yes. Let me tell you, when we moved into this office space and I saw one of your team members and I said, and it just hit me. I'm like, wow.
Oh, praise God. Yeah.
Won't he do
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. Won't he do it? He equips the unequipped. I'm telling you.
The least of us, too.
The least of us. The least of us. And so it's about that process and engaging in that process. But I remember dark nights, and now people see it as, oh, it's successful. But I needed to identify that first. So Kings was about that. Putting things in order and remembering who it belongs to.
That's right.
We're just stewards of it.
That's it.
And if you're doing it well, you're just preparing the next generation of leaders. If you really are being successful, it is about creating opportunities for other people, for our community.
That's right.
There is so much need in our community. And so you have to go back and invest that
do.
stewardship.
You do.
Right?
You
Because
do.
it is about spreading that and then expanding your territory.
Yeah.
You can have a million business plans. I've seen
SWOT
the best of
analysis
them,
out, yep.
right? And so, you go through it and you're like, we use something called the VTO, vision tracking optimization, and we outline our goals for the year,
projections
and we do our
SWOT
P&Ls.
analysis and P&Ls and bottom lines.
Yeah. And a lot of times people don't tell us how, they just say you got to do it. So you got to learn that. I'm just going to say that right now. So you have to outsource a lot of good a lot of good talent, and praise God for that, for the alignment of the right partners, right? But you really are managing the stewardship of people. So building character in what you do, making sure that your organization is not just saying, oh, Kings, they belong to, but how we act, how to perform, right? How we engage our team members, the unity within our organization, and it's going to be tested.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be tested.
Yeah.
It's going to be tested. I think that there's sort of this naive sort of concept when you're an entrepreneur and you're
it's
just
gonna be
like,
great.
this is great.
God gave me this vision. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, I can do my own schedule.
Oh, it's going to be free. I'm going to make all this money.
Yes,
No one's going to be the boss of me.
No, I got it. You see this checklist, I don't have to do it. I just, so you're really, this worldly concept of what success is.
No.
So I knew early on that I said, Lord, I really need you to define that for me. I never want to get to a point where I allow the enemy or allow the storms of life or allow the battles to define who I am.
Right.
What has been defined already from the beginning of time is him and his purpose. So, everything that you do, you set your goals.
Yeah.
Right? You look at them daily, right? You pray over them.
Right.
Right? You can't just write down,
You gotta get
this is my
a
bucket
spiritual
list.
vision.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then you meet with your team, you praise them.
Yes.
Right? Because we talk about how to raise leaders, right? We praise them for what they do. And then if there's an accountability piece that works the best for us is the redirect.
Right.
I call it the redirect. We're going to redirect this, right? This is an opportunity for us to learn, and then we're going to try it again together.
Together.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, so we have 2 more questions.
Yeah.
What have you enjoyed most about this journey? This journey that people think is overnight, but it's not. But what have you enjoyed most?
That's such a good question. Such a good question. I would say the building of character. I set out to serve, and what God has shown me is that I've also built, right?
You're a general in His war.
Yeah.
You're a general in His army.
Yeah. So it's that acknowledgement of the blessing and the favor comes through the obedience, and what gives me the most satisfaction is knowing, God, you can still trust me with even more. You can trust me with even more.
Yeah.
That's around the corner of that storm.
Wow.
And so seeing the leaders, during COVID, I had an intentional decision to make, and I remember feeling like anxious and concerned, like, God, is this the right time? Is this what I should do? And he gave me along the way some specific confirmations. But what I did was I acquired new talent, top talent that before was not available to me. That I would pass by an office and say, one day, Lord, can that person work under kids? Can you, one day, Lord, do you think that would be possible? And we need to do that. We need to do that as women. We need to proclaim.
Speak it.
Yes.
Ask, believe, receive.
Yes.
Ask, believe, receive.
That's good. That's good. That's good. And so it was that type of intentionality during that storm of COVID and saying, okay, Lord, so if you believe I'm ready, this will be part of our journey now at this stage. And our company is growing. It's always growing and moving and shifting in the right direction. So there are challenging times where you have to define, Lord, is this the right business, decision? Please confirm it for me. But I believe that if you're in the Word and then if you listen, He's there.
Quite.
Yeah.
So I want to know, because you're in janitorial services, but it's trust, right?
Yes.
Tell me how you, because there's some people now that have been going through COVID and either they've lost their business, they've had to redirect their business, they've had to maybe even transition themselves into doing something else. What was one of the biggest things that you had to overcome when COVID first hit, and how did you overcome it? Which is not one of the questions, but I think I'm hearing your story. And
yeah, I think that's so good. So in 2019, so every year I put out a memo for the year. Like, this is what our focus is going to be this year across the whole company. And remember when I said I started with 4, we have over 500, right? So across multi-states, and we continue to grow. So
let me just, I don't know if y'all heard what she said, because I don't want to run past that. She started with 4, and it's been multiplied by hundreds to 500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
God is in multiplication.
He's in the math.
He's in the math. He's in the multiplication.
Yeah.
He is not into subtracting. If he subtracts, it's because you're not supposed to have it.
Yeah.
But because he's entrusted you not with 4, but 40, but 400, but 500, that's because he sees you as a general, not a soldier, but a general in his army.
I receive that.
And so he's still having you to lead and increase, to have more people to equip. See you tearing up. I love you, my sister in Christ. You are a general.
Yes.
You are a general.
Yes.
And he loves you so much that he's
Yes.
entrusting you with all of these people.
Thank you.
So let's go into the next question.
Okay, let's do it.
This has been so awesome. You're so authentic and so amazing. And one thing I want to say before we go into the next question, and one of the things you talked about when you told a story about your mom, and they didn't hear it, but how when you came here, your mom just said, just be you and just trust God and walk with integrity. But she also gave you a lineage of who you are and the country that you come from.
Yes.
And one of the things I'm really big on is I want entrepreneurs to know that oftentimes when we go work for a corporation or when we start a company, we try to assimilate. We don't own who we are, what we are. And so we get this mindset that it's a melting pot, where you just go into this environment and you just melt in with all these other ones, and that's not the case. Your value and your strength and your innovation comes in that you're a tossed salad. So what your parents and grandparents and great-grandparents instilled in you, that's what makes you different than what my grandparents gave me. Yes, we all love the Lord, but how you do things, like you may cook a different way than I cook. Your chicken and rice in the same way I cook my chicken and rice. Okay, your arroz con pollo ain't the same as my chicken and rice.
It's a little different, yeah.
It's a little different. But that innovation, that creativity is what corporations need.
Yeah.
So when I heard you say, how can I be a janitorial company that has a differentiator? Everything about who you are is the differentiator. And sometimes women feel like we need to find someone else who's being successful doing it and be exactly like them.
Right.
But that's not who you are.
No.
Right? So when you say, okay, I know that I'm a tall, African-American, outspoken, come from a long line of, women, and I went to a historically black college and university, and I'm a mother of 3 kids.
Yes.
And, all these different layers of who I am makes me the most amazing cucumber in this salad.
Yes.
And who you are makes you the most amazing tomato. In this salad.
Yeah.
And you're needed in this salad.
That's it.
And I'm needed in this salad. Or else it's just lettuce.
That's it. And that's pretty boring.
That's pretty boring. Who wants just
boring.
lettuce?
That's it. Plus, it's not even that nutritious.
It's not, and it has no flavor.
That's it.
But we bring the flavor.
That's
and
it.
And flavor, and it's so important. It's so important.
Yeah.
And I can't say that enough. That women, and that's why everything you said today speaks to that. Is that your faith, who you are, who you come from, whose you are.
Whose you are. That's
Who
it.
you are and whose you are.
Yeah.
Makes you different.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I want, the most important thing I want women who are watching this, who are entrepreneurs, who are executives, who are thinking about taking that leap, or just know that they've been placed in this corporation, right, to empower and to uplift other people and other women, that they remember their voice.
Yes, that's so good. That's so good. It's interesting that you touch that topic and share that, because one of the things that every organization goes through, and individually us as women, is we sort of look for that confirmation in someone else, right? So especially when you're trying to climb the corporate ladder, right? Someone else's point of view of where you should be definitely says, oh, you're doing a great job, right? And so you've kind of identified like, oh, well, I'm just looking for that approval rate, right? But if you could just stay in your lane, continue to work on your craft, continue to develop yourself, right? Yes. Invest in yourself.
Yes.
This whole idea of like balance and time management. This is how I look at it. Because I get that question all the time. So how do you balance? How do you do that? And I'm like, you know what? I started looking at this as honoring my time.
Right.
Honoring my time. So there's not going to be this perfect balance. It is supposed to look sort of messy because you're going through the journey of growing, right? And so be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Know that how you've been created with all your qualities, because they are your most beautiful qualities, right?
Yes.
You should celebrate them. You got to be your biggest cheerleader.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so knowing all of that, embrace that, and then put that out into the world, right? Be that person who shines comfortable in their own skin. And I think as we age, I have 3 beautiful children, and I have a 21-year-old.
22.
Yes. I'm just so elated. Just a beautiful, beautiful soul, kind and gifted. And then my 2 girls, Ava and Bella, right? And so they all have this unique personality.
And what are their ages?
So Bella is 10.
Okay.
Bella is 10, and Ava is 8.
Wow.
And what I've learned from motherhood, is, because you learn a lot in business, but from motherhood, there's so many good nuggets. What I've learned is that, Lord, you've made every one of them different.
Completely.
Unique in their ways. So my parenting style for my first son cannot be the same for my second daughter and that middle child, and what they wrestle with, and then how they put out their positive energy into the world, and how they motivate. And I'll share this with you. So this morning I'm getting ready to leave the house, and as I'm putting together snacks and saying, take your snacks, right? I'm putting on my shoes, and I'm like, okay, just brush your hair in the car. You put lipstick on at the light,
Did I pack a lunch?
That's it. You're looking at the driver, you're like, don't judge, and you're doing all of that, right? My daughters came up to me and said, Mommy, you're going to do great today. Listen, it's about those moments, right? That's where so balance happens in your life. And they say, God is with you. And you're going to be able to share those things into not just your business, but yourself as a mother, right? Those lessons. So what I would say is I would encourage everyone that regardless of the barriers, listen, there's going to be just expect it.
Yeah.
Could you just expect it? Don't let it catch you off guard.
Plan on it.
Just expect it, because you're on purpose. You're focused. You're growing. Right. So just expect to have those circumstances. Challenge your faith. Challenge your company. Your belief. Right. How you present yourself. I had to work for years just sitting on certain boards or being part of the volunteer group. I swear, if they would say, can we move a chair? I'm going to move the chair. What do you think we can put this up? Oh, I'll help you put this up. Being at the right place at the right time, that's also something God can do for you. He's very strategic that way. But being part of all that growth, right? Being part of all those moments. Enjoy that process and know that who you are should be celebrated.
It should be.
Right? Should be celebrated. That's it. And you're here to share the best of you with others. And then I would say, the battles are going to come, but the fruit of that battle the fruit of that obstacle, when you get to your first team member, when you get to hire your first vice president, when you're sitting across a negotiation with another business partner who just is trying to offer the same thing you're offering, but you're wanting to go a step further, and you have to calculate that risk in business, and you have to say, is this going to be worth the risk and the investment?
Right.
Right? There's so many things that go along with those decisions.
Yeah.
But just know, you're at the right place at the right time.
That's right.
You've
and if
been
you're watching
created.
this, you're at the right place at the right time, because you need to hear from this general.
You've been created. You've been created to fulfill that purpose and that calling. I always say our work is not just an everyday sort of thing. It really is a calling.
It is.
To deposit into people.
It is.
It really is a calling to be able to self-sacrifice and say, you know, I'm going to give you everything in my jar.
Yeah.
So you can fill it up.
Yeah, and then you go fill it up in someone else's jar, and then you fill it up in someone else's jar, and you pass it on to someone else's jar.
That's it. And invest in the kingdom, I would say.
Yeah.
Invest in organizations, invest in the kingdom, because they're building the future, right? Be the change you want to see is sort of like a hip saying. Do some of that change work.
Yeah.
Right? Do some of that change work. Invest.
Yeah. Don't just take and reap and reap and reap and don't sow.
That's it. That's it. And I think celebrating our diversity is key. I love what you said. Like, we're not going to make rice and chicken. I probably will burn the rice and chicken. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'll be like, what? Yours smells really good. But I don't know about mine. Yeah. So I'm an air fryer type of girl. Yeah. Let's keep it real.
However you cook.
Listen. Somebody, yeah, Mom said to me, well, you got great recipes. I said, girl, I'm an air fryer queen. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it right here.
I'm a queen of 30-minute meals.
That's it. Celebrate your diversity, right? Someone else is watching how you react.
Yeah.
Someone else is waiting for you to give them an example of how to go through stuff. Yeah. So, and grow and be blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have been amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I've really enjoyed this. So I want to leave you with the opportunity to tell us anything that you want that maybe we haven't covered, and then we're going to go into our next commercial break. But is there anything else that you'd like to share with us? And how can they get in? How can we get in contact with you? Because if we want to hire you for janitorial services, I mean, you have a lot of contracts, but
no. So how to get in contact with me?
The company?
Sure. So with the company, so go to our website, kings.cleaning, and then also go to our social media, right, for King Service Solutions, and meet some of our friends. We celebrate our team members. So join us in that celebration, right, recognizing the great work that they do across our community as first responders. And reach out to us if you need anything, right? Just a quick word of encouragement as an entrepreneur, or just a place to pray as well. Our doors are opened.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. We're going to go into our next sponsor break, which is 3D Strategic Management. I love pouring back into this initiative because of feedback that we get, and I know we're going to get a lot of feedback from this particular segment. And I can't wait to share with corporations and our corporate members too. So with that, thank you. We'll be right back.
3D Strategic Management is a full-service business development firm. The team has over 21 years of experience in project management, event planning, supplier development, public relations, business-focused training, government relations, and youth entrepreneurship programs, just to name a few. The team is qualified to design customized services and solutions. They are strategically developed comprehensive business training workshops. They deliver measurable results and sustainable growth for their clients. The team has managed collectively over 20 large conferences with a total of over 15,000 participants. 3D Strategic Management has been the primary conference coordinator for several events, including the United States Department of Commerce Minority Business Development Program held at Disney in January 9, 2020. Also, they planned a virtual business conference for the African American Chamber of Commerce of Central Florida, just to name a few.
All right, we're back. We're here with Michelle Tatum, and I am excited to have Michelle Tatum here because she is instrumental in my journey to get here to Women Empowerment Wednesday, to be able to impact 1.5 million. It started with women like Michelle Tatum and Dr. Jocelyn Harrison Henson. And so one of the things that I love about you is that from the very moment I met her, she always made sure that I took the time to know my craft. She wanted me to know the regulations and understand what they were so that when I can go out in the world now, I still can be like, oh no, the regulation stayed. Because so it was important for her to make sure not only did she take me and cultivate me, but she wanted me to be a woman that understood what I was doing and why I was doing it. So it was important for me to be here and saving you for March, for International Women's Day, to have you here for March, because you have made such a profound imprint on me getting here. So I want to say publicly again, thank you so much for pouring into me. You know, I love you dearly.
Thank you.
So, but I know you. They may or may not know you. So let's talk about, and you know, like I said before, because we've been able to keep up with our reach. You know, we have women in Japan. We have women in 9 different countries, and men. We have men watching too.
Good.
Thank you, men, for watching.
Good.
So let's tell them about who you are, what and your journey to get here. So your education, and then some of the things that made you who you are, Michelle Tatum.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. I actually have a degree in education from the University of Tennessee. People like to say, oh, my blood runs deep orange or evolve for life. I don't do any of that. But that's where I went to school. I'm originally from Knoxville, Tennessee, so I'm East Tennessee kind of country girl. I actually have a farm now in my backyard, just cause. But, or garden, I should say. But things that got me here, that kind of made me who I am, I would say life struggles, you know, just keep living. One of the things that Kimberly reminds me of all the time is keep going. Just keep stepping. Just keep stepping. Because I tend to overthink things instead of just going with it. I'll overthink things. But, you know, you live, you learn, you grow. My faith is tremendous. And I can honestly say, were it not for God and His covering over my life, I would not be here. I would not have met Kimberly. I believe that everything happens for a reason. We may not know the reason. We may not even like the reason. But things happen and they're designed in order. Our steps are already ordered for us. It's up to us to decide to follow them. I am a mother. I have a daughter and a son, in that order. I have 3 grandsons who are the love of my life.
They are.
They will be as spoiled as my children are. Kimberly can attest that the kids are very spoiled, even though they're grown.
Yes, she loves her children.
I am a family person. I think I'm the kind of person, if I take you under my wing, you kind of stay there.
Yeah, you're in the village you're in.
Yeah, you can't get out. You can't get out.
And you don't want to.
Well, thank you. And my daughter says if I don't like you, she doesn't either, because there has to be a reason.
Right.
And but I love people. I like helping people. I try to invest and pour in. I think my motto is, I will never leave you worse than I found you. And if I can't help you, I certainly will not. If I can't help you, I certainly will not hurt you. And some of that goes back to ministry and just the way my core beliefs are. Yeah,
I know that for sure. I've seen you time and time again bring people in and train them, and you've had some folks that you brought in that just were ornery, that didn't want to be, and you still nurture. You were like hugging on them and loving on them. They're like, no, let me go. And you're like, no, I'm gonna love on you. I'm gonna hug you. And I was like, 2 fingers, I'm done. And you're like, no, just hug on them one more time. Just love on them one more time. You do have a very nurturing spirit, and a relentless desire for everyone, like you said, to be better than when they met you, even if they don't want to.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
That's not always good.
But that's, you know what, it is good, because in business, when we're talking to women business owners and we're talking to executives in corporations, you have to stay in who you are, rooted in who you are. And if you are a nurturer and if you are a giver, then you have to learn how to continue to do that, and don't let other people's way of doing things change who you are.
It's true.
You know?
But the other side of that is, as you're giving, you have to learn that you have to know how to receive. An empty cup can't pour anything.
Right.
And those of us who are givers tend to give out.
Yes.
And then we find ourselves kind of stuck.
Right.
Not knowing where we should be, because we've poured everything out and we haven't stopped to take the time to refill ourselves.
That's right.
Even to allow others to pour into us.
Right.
It's very difficult for a giver. It's very difficult for someone who has a mission and a task in their, in their sight, to say, let me stop and do some self-care. And it's very crucial that we as women continue for our physical health, for our mental health, and for our spiritual health, that we stop and allow others to pour into us, that we stop and pour into ourselves. If it means doing nothing, but God forbid turning off the telephone and just sitting on your lanai and just doing nothing but listening to the birds.
That's it, birds.
That's the best best type of self-care.
Yeah.
Because then you can talk to yourself, you can talk to God, you can recenter, and you can rest. And rest is important.
One thing I know about you, so what they don't know is that I was working for Orange County Public Schools for Dr. Jocelyn Harrison Henson. And I
stole you?
Yeah, she did. She did. So, she did. So I remember I was there and I knew I wanted to, grow. I wanted to do something. And I kind of had reached a place where I couldn't grow anymore there. And so I remember you had a position that became available and you called me and you said, hey, I got a position available. You need to apply. And I was like, okay. And I didn't think I was good enough, to be honest. So, because it would have been a wider territory of things I was going to be responsible for. And I remember the position closed, and then you called me, and you was like, why didn't you apply? And I was like, because the rotation of the earth and the gravitational pull of my pen, I couldn't get my computer. Like, I gave you all the craziest reasons why. You said, okay, we really didn't get a lot of candidates, and it's going to go back out and apply. And it was like, bye. And she hung up, and I was like, yes, ma'am. So I applied. We had the interview and you hired me, and I just remember that it was nothing but a divine, you saw something in me that you needed in your organization, but I needed something in you, and how you have been able to nurture and maneuver and move through in your position where there are not a lot of people that were at your level of supply diversity, especially at a major airport. You took me to a lot of AMAC conferences, minority airport conferences, and I saw that it was a lot of men. And so to know that, and she sat on boards, and you go somewhere and it's like, Michelle, she was like Norm on Cheers, right? So a lot of times I would go over and I'd be in my room, because you got to go greet and meet everybody. But your reach of what you've done, and I think that's the humbleness in you. Like, you're sitting here going, yeah, I just know she ran a multi-million-dollar and managed for one of the largest airports in the nation. And she fought for that role, and she fought while she was in that role. And so I think that as women, we do need to pour into ourselves. We need to be able to be balanced, and we need time for ourselves. But we have to celebrate ourselves and remember our worth.
True.
We have to remember.
Very much so.
Yeah, we have to remember our worth, and remember that we can't base it on what someone else say who we are.
Exactly.
But once you realize who you are,
then you know whose you are.
and then you know whose you are, then you evaluate yourself differently.
Right.
And as an entrepreneur that's watching this show, it's very important that she said something that's powerful. And a lot of the women that I've been talking to over the last year, we all have the same struggle, is trying to pour back into myself. Because I'm pouring into my kids, I'm pouring into my mom, I'm pouring into my sorority, I'm pouring into my church, I'm pouring into my company, I'm pouring into family and friends. And at the end of the day, I'm empty.
Exactly.
And one of the other speakers we said earlier said, sometimes you pour so much, you so faking it till people don't even know that you ain't even making it.
Exactly.
Because you don't have nothing.
Right.
So I think that it's important that women hear from people like you who can say, no, I choose me. In this season of my life, I choose me. Because I saw you at the airport where you were managing a major department, like top 5 at the airport, okay? But you had a mom who needed you to be watching her. You had a son that you still was helping to find his way and everything. And then he had a child, and you being there for that child. And you had a daughter, and then you had a church, and you're a minister, so you was trying to give the word. Like, you had all these things before you got to work. Before you pulled up to the airport. You know, my mom had to do this, and then I had to do that. And then your sister was at the house too. You were taking care of your special needs sister, and then your mom, who was getting older. And so I remember watching you going, now Kim, you can't complain about these 2 children. You can't even like wrap your mind around to say that you just tired or you overwhelmed, because I saw you do it. I saw you do it daily with grace. You never complained. I want you to know that I saw you never complained about this plate that had all these things on this plate. You never complained. You come in, hey, good morning, y'all. Okay, all right. Woo, had to get mama her medicine, had to take my sister for a walk. And then Rodney, I did this with him, and then my daughter, hey, good morning, let's have a meeting. Okay, all right, everybody good, yeah.
See, I didn't see all of that.
But for years,
you
just doing you, because you're just pouring. And so I'm staying in this moment. I'm simmering in this moment for a little longer than we normally would have, because there's a woman watching right now. There's a man watching right now that keeps pouring to other people, and their cup is empty.
Pour back. You got to get it poured. You got to fill it up.
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 And you know, when we look at it, Kimberly talked about the job, and for me, it was just a job. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
It's doing what I love. I love empowering people. I love teaching people how to navigate, how to get through, how to go around the circles, how to not let the little stuff stop you.
Yeah.
And
Don't sweat the small stuff. She used to always say, "Don't sweat the small stuff."
can I tell them about the phone call I got in Denver?
Okay.
Okay, so she knows what this is. We're still in the South. Orlando doesn't think it's the South. It is the South.
Yes.
So I'm on vacation, not thinking about work, saying, Kimberly hadn't called me this week. It's probably Wednesday. If anybody called me, it was going to be her. So I get this phone call Wednesday, and this girl is in a frenzy. You could hear the furor coming through her voice. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? I'm thinking somebody had really said something out of line because I'm out and they were taking liberties or whatever, right? No, Kimberly finds a pencil in the bathroom that is wrapped in the Confederate flag. I said, throw it away. She said, but I'm going to HR and I'm going to throw it away.
Oh, I had
She
a stern letter.
livid.
I was going to call the NAACP. I was going to call the police department. I was getting Oprah on the line. Tyler Perry was next.
Everybody.
I was going to alert everybody.
I mean, my phone was hot from her conversation. I said, Kimberly, but if you make something so much out of this, when something really big happens, which it is going to, they're not going to pay you any attention. And it took her about 5 minutes of fussing to hear what I said.
And probably cussing.
No, you really weren't that day.
I was hot.
But you were too hot to curse.
Yeah, I was hot.
So the danger of Kimberly is, for y'all who don't know, if she's not cursing, you need to leave her alone. That's when you need to leave. So
I like flavor in my conversation. I like a little
exactly a little spice.
With flavor in my conversation.
So
that's that Southern in me.
But she listened fine. I said, just throw the pencil away. And she did. And the problem was solved, and we never saw anything like that again. But there were other battles that we had to fight, like people talking down to us because, number one, we were black women.
Right.
People challenging us, people coming in and saying things. That's because Kimberly was responsible for certifications, and people coming in and saying, well, I went to school with the mayor, so.
And?
Well, I'm calling the board tomorrow.
Okay.
And Kimberly would watch me to see my reaction. I'm like, okay. And she said, well, Michelle, I got a phone call from somebody, and you need to ignore it. You know, that kind of thing. Or as Kimberly would say when she would see me with some friends, and she would say, but do you know who this person is? Yes. You really know this person? Yes. And she would say, but you act like they're just the guy next door. I said, because in the end, they really are. You know, and I think that as we women, especially those of us who are in construction or those type of professional services, or even doing this, male-dominated professions, we have to understand that our value is just as high, if not higher, than those men, because they didn't work nearly as hard to get where we are.
Yeah, because you have to earn the respect.
You have to earn that respect, and you have to always remember that they're going to dig at you, they're going to pick at you, and try to get you to
Come
be
out of
the
character.
be the angry, especially with us, be the angry black woman, because that's what they want to see.
Yeah.
And we just kind of look at them and go, okay, this isn't worth the fight. I'll wait for a bigger fight.
Yeah, you taught me that. I think I remember when I was working for you, one of the things that you used to say was, Kim, you're just intimidating by yourself. You come in, you're tall, you got all this hair, you know, you wear all these, you wear all this colors, and so you already set the room, you tilt the room already. So in understanding that you already walk in and tilt the room, how do you want then to move forward? And I never realized that I win because I can go into a room and speak about certification. I can speak about contract management. I can speak about, rules and regulations, because I've been trained by the best. That just my essence already put them at defense, put most men at defense. And so how do you, as a woman going into a male-dominated sector, and you own who you are and you love who you are, so you coming in with your best armor, you looking funky, fly, fresh, right? And you walk into a room, how then you move forward with the fact that you may be intimidating someone or anything else? And I had to learn how to overlook some things, let some things ride, let water run off your back like a duck.
Exactly.
Because I used to think that I used to have to fight every battle. I was ready that day. That flag, I said, oh, they want me to. It was too. it was in a woman's bathroom, so it was a woman that did it. So the woman wanted to, and it was only 3 of us that were not white. I think in the building. So they wanted one of us to see it and one of us to be impacted.
And I was doing crossword puzzles with the pencil. She was upset. It was a pencil.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but the other thing too is as we walk into the rooms and we're tilting the room, you don't have to be, 5'11" and 3/4, as she says. You don't have to be
You have to be
that
Amazon.
with the hair, like Kimberly likes to wear her hair sometimes, looking like a lioness coming into the room.
I can't help it. It's tame today.
You can be a very diminutive woman.
Yeah.
And they still are going to be a little intimidated because it is a woman.
Right.
And what is she doing here? So it's a combination of intimidation and anger. The one thing that we also do, we don't want to be aggressive and just in your face so much, but we also don't want to shrink down. We want to own who we are.
Right.
In that room. We want them to know that we're just as smart.
Yeah.
That we're just as powerful, that we're just as qualified. And when we do that, we win every time.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of saying, yes, we don't have to be the loudest.
Nope.
We don't have to talk the most even.
Nope.
Sometimes the greatest power is in silence.
Because they can't read what you're saying, they don't know what you're thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a winner right there. That's a winner right there. So, so one of the things I want to ask you, as a phenomenal woman, you definitely are a phenomenal woman, phenomenally. You're involved in a lot of different things. What are some daily routines or some practices that you do to stay balanced? And we're definitely looking from this particular angle now.
I pray a lot. That's the first thing. I pray a lot. I have started practicing meditation just because I found myself again with my mind racing. I find myself going through this series of self-doubts, which this one probably wouldn't believe, but I'm going through and I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I off kilter? Why am I not being who I think I should be? So I started practicing meditation. I do quiet things. I do things so that my mind doesn't always have to be racing. I practice focusing on tasks. I think I have a bit of ADHD because I don't like to do things all day. I like to do this and then I go to this and then I go to this.
And she had a crossword puzzle in, and it's like,
yeah,
you got a crossword puzzle out.
right, and then I'll come back but I'll finish it all. It's just I don't want to do these long stretches of stuff. But now I practice. I work from home, so I'm in my office. Usually I learn this from Kimberly with the lights off in the room, but I am focused. I don't even have the radio a lot of times or music. I'm just focused on the task at hand, and that takes practice and that takes discipline. Kimberly, my other daughter here, knows that I run marathons or ran marathons. I want to start running again. It's a discipline thing. It's a matter of knowing that if you put one foot in front of the other one, you will keep going. Doesn't matter how fast you're going.
Come on.
It's just that you keep going.
Right.
And those of us who have faith know as we're walking, we're not walking alone.
Yeah, that's right. And at times when you can't walk, he'll carry you.
Exactly.
You're still moving forward. You just hold me, daddy.
Exactly.
I'm about to be faint. Hold.
Right.
I can't do. I can't go no longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So I want to go into what are some ways that women-owned companies can cut corners that have cut corners that usually end up costing them later. And you've done a lot of business development coaching. So let's talk to women entrepreneurs that some of the things that you've seen them do that they've done, either cut corners or just some best practices.
The absolute worst thing that most of them want to do is merge finances. Not just, people say don't do it for tax purposes. That's one reason you don't want to do it. But just because now you're not accountable to your business. Other things, women, cut corners. Usually what women do is get themselves in trouble trying to do too much. They're trying to do too many things and they're not doing anything greatly. They may be doing a lot of things well.
Yes.
But they're not doing anything exceptionally.
Right.
And you want to have a niche that's exceptional.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of stuff.
Yes.
But you want to have an exceptional niche. So focus on something. Find that one thing that you love to do and that you're good at. That is the core of your business. People start businesses doing what they like.
Yeah.
So in doing that, Focus on that. Don't try to branch out and add this piece or that piece because you think it's going to add value. Because what it does, it decreases the value of your niche thing.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the things that you said, and I use it a lot, and it came from you, is about dating when you're in business, and how when you're looking at a contractor. Can you tell them that analogy that you've said many times, and I use, and I quote you every time, and I give you credit every time. But that businesses, when you're looking to approach a contractor, it's like dating. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I used to tell small businesses, men and women both, especially when I used to talk to a lot of men all the time. So I would say to them, when you saw this cute, fine little young thing that you wanted to holler at, and you asked her for a number and she told you no, you didn't leave it alone, you kept going. Or if you called her and she didn't call you back, you didn't never call her again. You kept calling until you got a response. The same thing is true when you're chasing business. You keep going after that. You keep going. You know, if it's not meant for you, then it won't come to you.
Right.
But if you're persistent and you're serious and this is something that is meant for you to have, it may be difficult to get. Most of the best things are.
Yeah.
It may be difficult, but it will be worth it, and you will continue to go. But don't just say, oh, I sent an email and I didn't get a response. Who does that?
Yeah, a lot of times businesses do that.
Right, you know, people don't want to be bothered. And business development, as I'm doing that, is very difficult. Because, and even in real estate, I don't do cold calls. People say, well, I don't do cold calls in real estate. Wow, it doesn't work, number one. But at the same time, you have to be persistent and you have to be consistent. So if you're going to use emails, you need to send one a day for a while, and then maybe up to 2 a day, and then you include someone else in the email so they say, oh, now someone else knows that I'm ignoring this person. You know, you find someone who you know is in the same line of business and you copy them. You try not to go over someone's head if you can, but you want to keep doing that, and you just keep, it's like a dripping faucet. It gets annoying and you have to respond sooner or later.
Right.
And you know, and it's okay to be thought of like as annoying sometimes.
Right.
Because the squeaky wheel usually gets the oil.
Right, yeah. And I think too that the thing about it is also being professional and being patient, because sometimes people in supply diversity like ourselves, you are responsible for 800 certifications. So if all 800 or if 10% contacted you, you need 2-3 days, maybe a week to respond back. And it may be something else going on. You may be traveling. It may have been some family stuff. So as women-owned businesses, you also want to afford them the grace to be able to respond to that email. And when you send that next email, say, hey, I know you were busy and I just wanted to follow up, versus going back to that dating analogy where the guy or you or a guy is pursuing a woman and she doesn't respond. The next time you call, it shouldn't be, I called you, why you ain't called me back? Well,
please don't do that.
I'm definitely not going to answer the phone
Please
next
don't
time
do
you
that.
call. So it's one of those things where you have to find the fine line. But if you want something,
you got to go after it.
you got to go after it, and you got to continue to go after it, and not let your feelings get in the way of rejection.
I was going to say that.
And pride, and
don't take it personal.
And don't take
please.
it personal.
Business is usually not personal. You know, it's nice when it blends and a client becomes a friend, or vice versa. But business is not personal. You know, and we have to remember that, and it's hard because especially we invest so much in in people we work with. You know, especially those of us who are in these are service professions. So we invest in these, and we invest in the people. And so when we don't get that back, sometimes it can sting a little when they decide to use someone else. It stings, but it's not always personal. Right. And again, we have to remember that everything is not for us. Very often God is saying, you know, you could have got in this and then look, because someone else will get into it, and then you're hearing these horror stories about this client who doesn't pay.
That's the second time today that they're going to witness and be able to see this message about thinking that you're supposed to get something or working towards something, and then that you don't get it. Linda earlier mentioned that she had been with a company for 25 years, and she thought after 25 years she had worked herself up to being able to be CFO, and she wasn't selected. As a matter of fact, the person they hired was someone that she had hired and trained, and then they hired her to be a CFO. So, but it wasn't where she was supposed to be. And having peace with not knowing why. Just knowing that it's no.
Right.
It's just no. One of the things that I love about you is that you're highly intelligent, one of the most intelligent women I've met, but you use your brain capacity in everything. So you have a realtor's license, you're an ordained minister, you work in business development, you have a business on the side where you work with clients to help them with proposals and different things. Like you have used every part of that brain to have multiple streams of income. And I think that's what entrepreneurs need to look at their business, is that you may have a core value, but be looking at how you can diversify strategically to be able to have multiple streams of income. Because COVID came, and if you were just doing real estate, you might have got shut down.
Right.
If you were just doing one thing, then you would not been eating because you were just doing this one thing.
Right.
You should be an expert at something, but have knowledge of something else to be able to pivot and grow your business and grow yourself. And I love that about you. So I'm going to ask you one more question, and then we're going to allow you a chance to say anything you want to say.
Okay.
What are some things that you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of your career?
Oh my goodness.
Your 25-year-old self.
Oh my gosh, my 25-year-old
30-year-old self.
Probably that there's nothing out here really worth being afraid of.
Yeah.
Probably that. Because fear definitely is false evidence appearing real.
Come on.
But that realness, that appearance of realness, everything is an appearance.
Right.
Some appearances are much stronger than others. And and some things, when you pay them attention, let's just think of a 2-year-old who's acting out. If you pay him attention, him or her, they're going to continue to act out.
Oh, even they're going to take it to the next level.
Yeah, even sometimes if you spank them, that's still attention. It's negative attention, but it's attention. Fear is that same way. When you turn your attention to that fear, and I am a witness, I'm speaking from experience. When you turn that attention to that fear will come and become the dominant factor in your life.
Yeah.
So the one thing to do is understand that, yes, it's going to be there, but you got to look it in the eye and tell it exactly where it can go and walk past it.
Come on now.
So.
Yeah, and I think that's profound because this whole day has been about there's things that are going to happen. You got to know that barriers are going to come. You know that trials and tribulations are going to come. We're in a season right now. We're going to a whole year of COVID. We've lost 520,000 people just in the United States alone. This is a global broadcast, so millions of people. That's just on a higher level. You look it down on the granular level that there's so many things that are happening in our lives. Trials and tribulations are going to come, and those things that come, those obstacles that come, sometimes are manifestations of our fears because we have said, I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my job. Instead of saying, I'm going to be the best at my job. I'll always work. God provides. I don't want to lose my job. And then you lose your job, right? So when you look at those fears and you say, fear, believe my feet, because that's where you go,
where you're supposed to be.
where you're supposed to be, get behind me, and you keep moving with all certainty because you prayed and you ask, believe, and receive. And I think that entrepreneurs, oftentimes when they start a business, they're so gung-ho to just start a business. I could do it. I'm good at this. But they don't factor in all the obstacles that are going to come. And so when they come, you worry, and you have fear more going to come, and then you stand still. So I think your word of, your parting words were really good, is that speak to it and tell it where it need to go. Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it will take over. It will consume you, and it will take something or someone to kind of shake you and realize that you're stuck. And stuck is a very bad place to be.
It really is.
And you can't succeed stuck.
No.
You really can't. Stuck is just like it sounds like. You're mired down. Something is holding you. And that's what fear does. So we have to look inward. We have to be brave enough to reach out. We have to do the things that we need to do. All the faith in the world is great. But if we don't use our other resources, our friends, our sisters, our family, because the very people who very often you thought you could count on are going to be the ones who are like, no, I ain't got nothing for you.
Ooh.
I ain't got nothing for you.
When you start this entrepreneurship journey, you're going to lose some things that are very close to you.
Yes.
I'm just a witness.
Yes.
I'm a witness. There's going to be some sacrifices that God is going to ask you to make, or some sacrifices that you just know you need to make. and it's going to catch you off. Off.
Yeah, it'll knock you down.
Knock you down.
And it's okay to fall as long as you don't stay. You know, it's okay. It's
We
okay
fall
to be
down,
down,
but we get up.
but you can't exactly. You know, you just don't stay there.
Yeah.
Just don't allow yourself. Even if you want to wallow for a day or two, that's cool. You can stay in your bed, whine, cry, pull the covers up, but you still got to get up. At some point, you get up, you pull those blinds back. You say, thank you, Lord, it's a sunshiny day, and you go outside.
And you keep it moving.
And you keep it moving.
Yeah. But that's what we're going to end on, is keeping it moving. And do you have anything else that you want to say before we leave?
I'm honored again. I'm very humble. This is my girl. You know, we've been through some stuff.
We
Oh
have.
my God! It would take us the next 2 weeks.
The man, some stuff they don't even need to know.
They don't need to know.
They don't even need to know.
You know, my relationship with Kimberly is kind of a testimony of you don't have to see somebody every day to know that they love you,
Oh, yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
We've been through some stuff.
Yeah.
You know, hurt feelings,
Yeah.
anger,
We worked
ain't
through it.
speaking to each other, just
Ooh.
kind of craziness.
Ooh.
But just like, I ain't talking to Kimberly. I ain't calling her. You know,
Yeah.
literally.
Yes.
But this is my girl.
Yeah.
I am so incredibly proud of this young woman.
Yeah.
I really am.
Thank you.
I can look back, 10 years, 12
Yeah.
years, how long ago
Yeah.
it was?
Mhm.
And I see growth. I see calmness where there was chaos.
Yeah.
Um,
I used to react way too much.
Yo, God.
I felt like I needed to always defend myself as a woman, entrepreneur, just in a woman in general. I always felt like I needed to defend myself. I needed to defend my brand. I needed to defend who I am. And now I'm like, if that's what you heard, that's what you believe.
And now the fight is focused. It's okay to fight, but long as your fight is focused.
Yeah.
Not, you can't be scattered like
Yeah.
a shotgun. You
Yeah.
got to be focused.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
she's
That's
focused.
deep.
I like that.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. My fight is focused now not on those that are not for me. My fight now is for those that are with me and those that God has entrusted me to grow.
Exactly.
There's always going to be people that's not for you.
Exactly.
So why give them the energy? Because it doesn't matter what you do, how you wear your hair, how you dress, how you feel, how you talk, how you walk, how you do business. They're just not going to like you.
Exactly.
So how about putting your energy and your time and your focus into building God's kingdom? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
It's all about.
Building His kingdom to be able to grow and to grow someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No shot.
Because that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We're here to grow other people.
Well, she poured into me. I'm so honored to have you here, to be able to just highlight this amazing, phenomenal woman. She thought it not robbery to pour into me many years ago, and she's been cheering for me ever since. So I wanted to have you as the last word of this particular session, of this particular month. And I want to say I love you, and I'm cheering for you. We don't talk a lot, but she knows that if she do call, I'll be in that corner and be over there in a minute.
Yeah, we don't let up our power.
No,
so
we
we can
don't
do that.
really see each other though either,
I
because they're
know.
just, it's
We
crazy.
just
We're
do it
like
for stuff.
5 miles apart, but nevertheless, thank you for watching. We're going to go into our next break, which is from Mimi Sugar Scrub. All of our panelists received some scrub. Thank you to Michelle and the team at Mimi Sugar Scrub for providing those scrubs and those products for our speakers so they can pamper themselves. And then we'll be right back on the other side of this commercial break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mimi Sugar Scrub and More was birthed with the compassion to help others in a pandemic who were no longer able to pamper themselves outside of their home. Mimi Sugar Scrub and More specialize in making homemade natural products that keep the skin soft, smooth, and moisturized, all without feeling greasy. The scrub exfoliates, deeply penetrates the skin for a hydration process. The most popular scrubs are the orange vanilla, strawberry body yogurt, lavender hand scrub, and the green tea hand and face scrub. Be sure to follow Mimi Sugar Scrub on Facebook, Instagram, and their website, www.mimisugarscrub and more.
Hey, we're back and we're wrapping up our closing. And weren't they phenomenal? Didn't it give you a lot of nuggets? I want to do a quick recap because I had a lot of aha moments and a lot of emotional aha moments even for myself. And I've been in the game for a minute. That's why it's important for me to bring a lot of different women with a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different testimonies, because I don't know what your test is, but they can speak to your testimony. So here's some nuggets that I want to give you. One, there will always be battles. Each one of them talked about having a battle or a barrier. Each one talked about how they responded. Your response may never be the same as my response, but you must also embrace that as you're striving in your business to grow, or if you're in a corporation, know that you can focus on the strategies to get there to be successful, but you're going to have barriers. And you have to plan for those barriers. As an entrepreneur, the moment you put out in the atmosphere that you want to start a business is the moment that the enemy will come and send things to try and distract you or stop you. Be prepared. Stay stay grounded and stay in a full armor, okay? Linda, I love Linda because she's a quiet storm. And one of the things she says that comfort is the enemy of growth. If you're somewhere and you're comfortable, God is not using you to grow you. And in growth is where you get the blessings. That's where you get the process of getting to where you want to be. Another way you can say it is a po wind that don't change. So just know that if you're in a situation and you get too comfortable, too complacent, you may want to have a moment just to recenter yourself and figure out how you can grow yourself, how you can grow your business. Because if you're not looking at how you can grow your business, then you're comfortable in a place that you're in, that's when COVID-19 happens. And now you got to change. Okay, so be prepared. So thank you, Linda, for that. Janet talked about having being multiple callings, but the obedience is in your yes. So you may be called to do many things. You may have a passion for many things, but you have to be centered and ask God, which one is your yes? And be obedient to that yes. Be obedient to whatever he's calling you to do. Do it. Do it with excellence. I love that Janet's company, The King, was because she wanted to always look at how she can honor God, and how that her purpose is not janitorial services, but it's trust. It's building trust. So she was obedient to her yes. And Michelle remembered us to have a focused fight. That fear is false evidence of things appearing real. False evidence of things appearing real. They're not real. So you have to have a focused fight when you're a business owner and when you work for a corporation. You have to be tailored in where you're going, strategically what you're doing, and how you can get there. I hope today that you got some really good nuggets and you were really able to understand the importance of your voice, your purpose, your passion, your importance, and doing things that work best for you and your family. Listen, if you need to get some new underwear for your children so you don't have to wash every week, go to Walmart. Go get you 3-4 packs of underwear for your children and for yourself so you can take that off your plates. It was so many things today that was so amazing, and I can't wait to watch it 19 more times. Please share, continue to follow us, continue to like us. Go to our YouTube page and look at some of the past videos. Once you've watched this one, look at some of the past videos. If you felt empowered and you felt impacted by this particular session, there's a lot more. We have a lot more, and we're bringing you a lot more. I'm excited about where God is taking Women Empowerment Wednesday. Please share with any woman business that you know. Please share the opportunity for them to be a sponsor of Women Empowerment Wednesday. We are still open and available to take sponsorships. And if you know someone that you thought has been an impact in your community or in your industry and you want them to be a speaker on Women Empowerment Wednesday, we'll definitely consider them in our lineup for future shows. So thank you so much for continuing to support, to watch, to share, to like, to pray. We're here for you. This is all for you. And I want you to have a great day and a wonderful year. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.